Every single time you tap on an app, whether you're ordering food, checking your bank account, or just scrolling through social media, you're using something built in the cloud. But have you ever really thought about what keeps that app and all your data safe? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the actual blueprint for building secure cloud applications. And trust me, it's not just some boring technical checklist. It's the real story of how our digital world is built to be a fortress.
So, what does it really take to secure an app in this massive, constantly changing thing we call the cloud? It's a huge question, right? Well, we're going to answer it. We're going to walk through the entire process, from the moment an app is just an idea, all the way to its launch and beyond. Think of it like a personal, behind-the-scenes tour of a high-tech construction project.
All right, so where do we even begin? Well, our journey starts way before anyone writes a single line of code. This first part is all about getting the blueprint and the foundation right. Because here's the thing, you don't build a fortress by accident. It has to be planned right from day one.
And that planning has to account for a massive shift in how we build things. See, in the old days of traditional development, it was like building a house on your own private land. You owned everything, you controlled everything. But cloud development? That's like building a luxury penthouse in a giant shared skyscraper. You don't own the building, you don't own the guards at the front door. It demands a totally different mindset and, specialized training for the people building it.
That training has to be laser-focused on real-world dangers. We're talking about the common booby traps that experts, like the folks behind the OWASP Top 10 list, warn us about. Things like injection flaws, where a hacker basically tricks your app into running their code. Or even simple security misconfigurations, which are, the digital version of leaving a window wide open. A well-trained team knows how to spot these and design them out from the very beginning.
And the master blueprint that guides this whole thing is called the Secure Software Development Lifecycle, or the SDLC. The key here is that it's not a straight line, it's a continuous loop. Security isn't some feature you tack on at the very end. No way. It's woven into every single phase: the design, the coding, the testing, and the maintenance. This is what makes security a core part of the product, not just some afterthought.
Okay, so with our blueprint in hand, we are officially entering the construction phase. This is where the digital hammers and nails come out, and we start actually building the fortress itself, using really specific techniques to make it strong right from the get-go. Now, a huge part of this is something called threat modeling. It's basically a structured way to force yourself to think like a hacker before you've even built anything. You stop asking, what should this feature do? And you start asking, how could someone malicious totally abuse this feature? And there are frameworks to help like Stride, Dread, or Pasta. They're just organized ways to anticipate attacks so you can defend against them. Let's just take a quick look at STRI dates. It's because it's one of the most popular. It's this brilliant acronym that works like a checklist for the dev team. They literally sit down and ask, could someone spoof a user's identity here? Could they tamper with our data? Could they cause a denial of service and crash the whole thing? Going through these systematically helps you find the weak spots in your design and, fix. I love this quote because it just perfectly sums up secure coding. Building the product right. That's about the craftsmanship. It means following proven standards from groups like OWASP to write solid, resilient code. But building the right product, that's about making sure the thing you built actually delivers on all the security promises you made back in the design phase. You have to do both. It's not one or the other.
So you've built the product right, and you've built the right product. Awesome. But you can't just take your own word for it. You have to verify everything. I mean, our fortress is built, but you wouldn't move your family in without a full-blown inspection, would you? Of course not. So this phase is all about testing, relentlessly, to make sure the app is as secure in reality as it looked on paper.
And there are two main ways we do this inspection. On one hand, you've got black box testing. That's where you act like a real hacker trying to break in from the outside with zero inside knowledge. On the other hand, you have white box testing. This is where you have the full blueprints, the source code, and you're combing through it from the inside, looking for any flaw. A really good inspection plan is going to use both. We can also bring in some automated help here.
Static testing, or SAST, is kind of like a superpowered spell checker for your code. It reads the raw source code, the blueprint, and flags potential security issues before the app is even up and running. Dynamic testing, or DAST, is totally different. It attacks the application while it's live, throwing simulated attacks at it to see how it reacts in the real world. You absolutely need both to get the full picture. And all of this testing, it forces a really important change in mindset. The focus completely shifts. You stop asking, does this feature work the way I designed it? And you start asking, how could a really clever attacker misuse this feature in a way I never, ever intended? Answering that question, well, that's how you find the most creative and often the most dangerous security holes. And we have to remember, almost no app these days is built completely from scratch. They're assembled using tons of third-party and open-source components. Think of them like prefabricated building materials. Software composition analysis, or SCA, is the absolutely critical job of inspecting every single one of those parts to make sure you're not accidentally building a known vulnerability right into the foundation of your app.
Okay, the inspection is done, we've passed, and it is time to go live. The fortress is built, people are moving in, and now we shift to daily operational security. This is all about the locks on the doors, the alarm systems, and having a really tight system for managing who gets the keys. Your first line of defense is usually a web application firewall, or a WAF. The easiest way to think about it is as a super smart security guard standing at the main gate of your app. It inspects all the traffic coming in and is trained to spot and block all the common web attacks before they even get a chance to knock on your application's front door. Then, inside the app, you have what's called an API gateway. See, modern apps are made up of lots of little services that are constantly talking to each other through APIs. The gateway acts like a central traffic cop, or maybe a secure front desk, for all of those internal conversations, making sure everyone is who they say they are and that they're allowed to make the request. And what about protecting the users themselves? That's where multi-factor authentication, or MFA, is king. It is one of the single most effective security tools out there. The idea is simple. A password alone isn't good enough. You need something you know, like your password, combined with something you have, like a quick approval on your phone. It's like needing two separate keys to open the same important door. Suddenly, a stolen password just isn't enough for an attacker. Okay, now for what might be the single most important rule in all of application security. You never, ever hard-code credentials, we're talking passwords, API keys, any kind of secret directly into your source code. Doing that is the digital equivalent of taping your house key to the front door for everyone to see. Instead, you use a secure system for secrets management. It's like a digital vault that keeps all those keys safe and only hands them out when and where they're needed. So, when you boil this all down, what's the one thing to take away from all this? It's that securing an application isn't a project you just finish. It's not a destination you arrive at. It's a continuous process, a constant cycle of designing, building, inspecting, and maintaining your defenses against threats that are always changing. The work is never, ever truly done. And that brings us to one last thought to leave you with. Think about the apps on your phone right now, the ones you use every single day. They hold so much of your life's data. Now that you've seen the real blueprint for what it takes to build them securely, I'll just leave you with this question. Are they secure enough?